Canada Smart Mind é uma escola canadense que oferece cursos de inglês, francês e imigração. Os vídeos estão em inglês ou francês para você se acostumar com a pronúncia. Os professores que sabem português vão te ajudar. Aqui, você vai ver um texto, uma regra gramatical e um exercício. Vamos embora.
Work is the essential thing that can make your life successful in a new country. Everything else can come later. Therefore, you have to have good communication abilities to interact with the right people in your field of interest, right vocabulary, and the best way to say your ideas are crucial. Here, I'm going to show you how to search for your new working opportunity in Canada and to participate in conversations in order to appear clever and comfortable. You will have here 1. Job searching ideas, 2. Templates, 3. Comments. This video will help you to find and get your work, adjust yourself to it, and settle in your new Canadian life. 1. Job searching ideas. Job searching ideas explanation. What is telework? Definition, benefits, and tips. November 24, 2021. By Indeed editorial team. Telework, also known as telecommuting, is working from a location other than a traditional office. Typically, teleworkers work from home, but they can also join meetings and complete their tasks from various places, such as coffee shops. Understanding the benefits of telework and typical career paths that involve this can help you decide whether you want to pursue a teleworking job. In this article, we answer what is telework by explaining how it differs from remote work, discussing the benefits and potential challenges of telework, listing common career paths, and providing helpful tips for working from home. What is telework? Understanding the answer to what is telework can help you clarify the difference between telework versus remote work. With telework, employees typically work near the physical office. For example, you may live in the same city as your office but complete your work-related tasks from home or at another nearby location, such as a coffee shop or co-working space. Telework can also include spending part of your working hours at a different place than the physical office. Employees are often far away from the main office with remote work and may work from different time zones. Positions that aren't conducive to telework include those that require face-to-face interaction, such as medical positions, those that need the operation of specific on-site equipment and vehicles, and those that require physical presence, such as a firefighter. Benefits of telework. The benefits of telework can include the following: reduced real estate footprint. With employees telecommuting, the company can have a smaller real estate footprint, meaning that the company can use the desk space these workers may have otherwise used for additional workers or storage. Having employees telework can help to reduce the amount of parking required, providing further cost savings for the company. Having some employees telework can allow the company to expand more cost-effectively. Reduced environmental impact. Because telework requires less commuting, it helps reduce traffic pollution and the impact on the environment. You can also reduce this energy impact by having fewer printers and computers in the physical office. Telework can help reduce emissions, fuel consumption, energy consumption, and paper use, especially as more industries shift to prioritize or accommodate teleworking. Improved employee satisfaction. Employee satisfaction and work-life balance usually increase with the flexibility offered by telework as an additional benefit. Improved employee satisfaction often means less turnover in the position and can reduce the amount of work required to recruit, assess, hire, and train new employees. Saving time in a day by shortening commutes can further increase employee satisfaction and productivity. Work flexibility can allow employees to spend more time on family activities and other responsibilities, potentially reducing the amount of time they may take off work. Cost-effective. Telework positions are generally more affordable because of the reduced need for office space and utilities such as Wi-Fi and phone service. Many companies can save money just by having employees telework for half of their hours. Teleworking can also offer cost-saving benefits to employees who aren't responsible for the cost or time spent commuting to the office. It's important to consider the other ways that teleworking can save costs, such as allowing employees to make their lunch and coffee at home and avoiding impulse shopping at stores nearby the physical office. Improved productivity. Individuals who telework often report increased productivity, which can be due to fewer distractions in the chosen work environment. Commuting to work can also be stressful, which can result in reduced productivity. By its elimination, employers can often see improved productivity from less stressed employees. Telework also eliminates additional problems that can affect commuting, such as extreme weather and issues with public transportation. Many employees consider themselves equally effective when teleworking as when working in the office, and some may consider themselves to be even more productive, more qualified candidates. By offering teleworking options, a company can expand its candidate pool by seeking employees who might be located further away from the office or require jobs that offer a better work-life balance. Employees who can be effective from home are often high-quality employees who require less supervision and management. They may be more creative and more effective in a more flexible working environment, creating more benefits for the company. Possible challenges of telework. Here's a list of some of the challenges you may experience when considering the question, what is telework? Security. One of the major concerns with telework is security, but there are several ways to ensure that security is in place when working remotely, and technology plays a significant role in alleviating these concerns. Organizations can establish specific guidelines for employees to follow and make efforts to keep information secure, such as using strong passwords, secure Wi-Fi networks, and VPNs, virtual private networks. Companies may also set guidelines for maintaining the security of physical paperwork, communication, and collaboration. Because teleworking involves connecting from a remote location, communication and collaboration can be more difficult than when all employees are in a central workplace. With telework, it's necessary to ensure that both internal and external communication are effective. Setting clear expectations is also essential for telework, with several options for communication available, including email, telephone, online video conferencing, and collaborative project management software. Communication is typically not an issue regarding telework if there's access to Wi-Fi. Employee engagement. With employees removed from the central office either full-time or part-time, employee engagement can decrease. There are many ways to increase employee engagement when teleworking. These include regular meetings and check-ins, online training, virtual coffee breaks, in-office socials, and benefits, such as home office funds. Some employees even report that telework has increased their employee engagement because the virtual environment can make participation more accessible. Common telework positions. Here's a list of common telework positions you can consider: accountant, online tutor, administrative assistant, writer, travel agent, transcriptionist, health claims analyst, customer service representative, computer programmer, public relations representative, web developer, graphic designer. Tips for teleworking. Here are some tips for effective teleworking. Create a dedicated workstation. When working from home, you may want to work from the comfort of your couch, but it can make it difficult to focus, create challenges for maintaining work-life balance, and create pain from sitting in a non-ergonomic position. Creating a dedicated workspace can help you switch on for work and ensure a healthy work environment. This can include a chair that you can adjust to keep your body in a natural position, adjustable screens and keyboards, and adequate lighting. A workstation can also reduce interruptions and distractions. If you live with others, take regular breaks. Take advantage of the flexibility that teleworking provides by taking regular breaks away from the screen. Pauses also give you the ability to stretch your legs and arms, preventing the stiffness of sitting down for extended periods. Examples include eating lunch away from your desk, getting up or going out for coffee, and using hands-free options to take calls, if possible, so you can move around at the same time. Taking regular breaks can also help improve your overall productivity. Establish work-life boundaries. Although working from home offers flexibility that can be helpful, there may be interferences in your work that you experience. Try to establish boundaries with roommates, partners, and children as necessary to help maintain your work-life balance. When you finish your workday, you can close all work applications and set yourself as unavailable to take time to relax away from work. Get ready for the day. Although it might seem unnecessary, getting dressed as though you were going to work can be an effective way to switch to work mode, increase productivity, and signal the end of your workday by changing back into your home clothes at the end of the day. Taking a few minutes to write a to-do list can also help you get organized by determining how to spend your time for the day.
Agora você tem o texto. Lembre-se de entrar em contato. Na descrição você tem o nosso contato.
Get the other videos, they will help you to move and adjust yourself to your new life here in Canada. I wish I could say some nice words and cool you down, but here is the thing, you have to go deep into your practice to develop your skills to talk. We post 3 videos every week, videos of English, French, and on the Canadian job market. We teach you the basics of grammar, pronunciation, and vocabulary in English and French. Also, this video improves your chances to get a job in Canada. You can have all the videos if you hit the subscribe button and like and bell icons to receive them and increase your ability to speak and settle in Canada. 2. Templates explanation. What is elastic demand? Definition and how to calculate. November 24, 2021. By Indeed editorial team. If you're in a leadership position responsible for pricing products and services, you may find it challenging to know how much to charge. Elastic demand is how changes in price positively or negatively affect the number of consumers purchasing a product. Learning more about elastic demand can help you be more effective in your role and price items or services appropriately. In this article, we answer the question, what is elastic demand? Provide the formula and explanation for calculating it, explain how to calculate elastic demand by using the formula and offer examples of elastic demand to help you better understand the concept. What is elastic demand? If you're wondering, what is elastic demand? It describes how consumers respond to small changes in an item's price by buying more or less of that item. Luxury or non-essential products are more likely to be highly elastic, meaning a small increase in price can cause fewer people to purchase it, and a small decrease in price often encourages many more sales. These products are very elastic because people often comparison shop for them and frequently choose the least expensive item that meets their needs. This measure of the customer base's sensitivity to price changes can help companies make knowledgeable decisions about their prices and adjust other factors, such as marketing, accordingly. For example, if a company that sells rings raises its prices to accommodate for a change in its supply chain, it might expect demand to decrease. To counteract the effects of elastic demand, they might choose to launch a targeted social media marketing campaign to build awareness and help increase sales. The formula for elastic demand. Use a formula to calculate how responsive demand for a product is likely to be relative to changes in its price. This formula divides the percentage of change in demand for a product by the percentage of change in the item's price. Use the resulting ratio to help make pricing decisions according to the company's tolerance for demand fluctuations. The higher value you get for X, the greater the product's elasticity of demand, or the more sensitive your consumers are to changes in price. Here's the formula for elastic demand. X equals Q1 Q0, Q1 plus Q0, P1 P0, P1 plus P0. Here's an explanation for each variable in the formula. Q0, the amount of demand at the beginning of a chosen time period. Q1, the amount of demand at the end of that time period. P0, the price of a product at the beginning of the period of time. P1, the price of that product at the end of the time period. X, elasticity of demand. How to calculate elastic demand. To calculate the elastic demand of your product, follow these steps. 1. Choose your product. Start by choosing the specific product you want to analyze. If you want to calculate the elastic demand of multiple products, it's better to perform separate calculations for the most accurate result. This is because you need consistent units at the beginning and end of the period, so it's helpful to isolate the demand for each product to perform your calculation. For example, if you work at a restaurant and want to determine the elasticity of demand for the spaghetti and meatballs dish, include a specific item for this dish on your point of sale system to help separate the data easily and simplify your calculations. 2. Select a period to measure. Once you choose your product, consider the time period for which you want to collect sales data. The period you choose is important because it can change your results drastically depending on the length of time and season. For example, if you work in a hardware store and want to calculate the elasticity of demand for shovels over a 2-week period in the winter, your results are likely to be very different from those if you did this calculation over a 2-month period in the summer. To choose a time period, consider whether you're interested in a product's elastic demand under certain circumstances, such as a season or an average over a longer period of time. 3. Measure demand at the beginning. Now that you have a product and time period, begin collecting data to determine the product's elastic demand. Start by noting the demand at the beginning of your time period. This may be easy to track if you're analyzing tangible products, such as shovels or spaghetti, but less tangible items, such as customer interactions, can be more challenging. Create a system that allows you to measure demand easily. For example, if you want to measure help desk tickets, ensure your team notes every customer they help and keeps a record of the interactions. Detailed measurements are important for producing accurate results. 4. Measure demand at the end of the time period. The next step is to measure the demand for your product or service at the end of your chosen time period. Use the same measurement system you used to determine the value of demand at the beginning of the time period. For example, if you checked your point of sale system and it said you sold 100 hats in the first week of the month you are tracking, also determine how many hats you sold in the final week of your tracking period from the point of sale system. 5 record prices at the beginning. Another element to note is the prices for the items or services record the price you're charging for the product at the beginning of your time period. For example, if you're analyzing shovel sales for the year and you're selling them for $15 at the beginning of the year, note this in your data collection. 6 record prices at the end. Over the tracking period, your prices are likely to change. It's important to note how your prices fluctuate over your chosen time period and include the price at the end of the period in the formula. For example, if you were selling shovels for $15 at the beginning of the period, you may be charging $20 by the end. Add the updated price for the item to the formula for the P1 variable. 7. Calculate the percent of change for demand. Now that you have all your data, use it to calculate elastic demand by using the formula start by inserting the demand at the beginning and end of your chosen time period into the first portion of the formula, Q1 Q0, Q1 plus Q0. This shows you the percentage change in demand over your chosen time period. For example, if you sold 100 hats per week at the beginning of the period and 200 hats per week at the end of the period, your formula may look like this: Q1 Q0, Q1 plus Q0, 200 100, 200 plus 100 equals 0.3 or 30%. 8. Calculate the percent of change for price. Then, calculate the percent of change for the price by inserting the price at the beginning and end of your time period in the second part of the formula, P1 P0, P1 plus P0. For example, if you sold your hats for $12 at the beginning of the time period and $15 at the end, your formula may look like this: P1 P0, P1 plus P0, 1500 to 1200, 1500 plus 1200 equals 0.1 or 10%. 9. Divide the demand rate of change by the price rate of change. Now that you have the numbers for your percentage change in demand and percentage change in price, you can calculate the elastic demand. Divide the percent change in demand by the percent change in price. For example, if your percent change in demand is 0.3 and your percent change in price is 0.1, you divide 0.3 by 0.1 to get 3 for the elastic demand rate. X equals Q1 Q0, Q1 plus Q0, P1 P0, P1 plus P0, X equals 0.301 equals 3. Examples of elastic demand. To help you understand elastic demand better, consider the following examples of times when you might calculate whether a product has elastic demand. Marketing. Knowing the elastic demand of your products can help you create targeted marketing campaigns. For example, if your product is highly elastic, you can develop a marketing plan that counteracts higher prices, such as a rewards system. You can also use your knowledge to lower prices and market that change, increasing the likelihood of higher demand. Purchasing. Understanding how elastic your products are can also help you when purchasing supplies or inventory. For example, if your products are highly elastic, you can purchase cheaper materials to keep your prices low. If you learn your customers purchase certain products at different times of the year, you can limit your inventory accordingly. Taxation. Elastic demand can also change depending on the amount of tax charged for a product. For example, your customers may not want to pay a lot for highly taxed items, such as alcohol, as they already pay additional taxes. Knowing the elasticity of these products can help you determine an appropriate price. Timing. The time of year affects the demand for certain products. For example, many stores have a seasonal section that offers products targeted to that season, such as sunscreen in the summer. Knowing the elasticity of demand for these products can help you determine when to release them and how much to charge.
Agora você tem a regra gramatical. Lembre-se de entrar em contato. Na descrição você tem o nosso contato.
Get all the videos to know how to contact your future employer in Canada, how to write a nice resume and cover letter, and to search for a nice job. Here in the description, you have some employers who want to give a letter to invite you to apply for Canadian immigration and join them. Get this data and contact them. You may get a job and go to Canada. 3 tips, free tips.
Predictive Index Behavioral Assessment, How to Prepare, November 24, 2021, by Indeed Editorial Team. A predictive index behavioral assessment can be a very useful tool in the hiring process. Employers sometimes use personality tests or behavioral evaluations to help prioritize their list of prospects or to direct a structured interview procedure throughout the recruiting process. Learning how to prepare for a predictive index behavioral assessment can help to increase your chances of being hired for the role. In this article, we define predictive index behavioral assessment, explain how to prepare for it, define a predictive index test and a predictive index cognitive assessment, discuss how to prepare for one, explain the reliability, and highlight general test preparation tips. What is predictive index behavioral assessment? A predictive index behavioral assessment is one of the two main types of predictive index tests, and it assesses your cultural fit in the company by gathering insights about your own aspirations and needs. It assists companies in selecting personnel who possess the personality attributes necessary for success in their role and workplace environment. The Predictive Index Behavioral Assessment (PIBA) provides candidates with two sets of adjectives. One list contains adjectives that others may use to describe them and their likely behavior, while the other contains adjectives they can use to describe themselves. How to prepare for a predictive index behavioral assessment. The PIBA is simple to complete, depends on candid and personal insight, and only takes 10 minutes. The following steps can help you prepare. 1. View sample questions. Try to review sample questions to get an idea of the type of questions you may encounter on the actual test and practice answering them. Knowing what to anticipate and being prepared to address them can instill confidence in you when you take the test. While you may not be able to anticipate every question on the test, there are a few typical questions, of which you may prepare responses. To consider what the test measures. It's critical to keep in mind that this exam assesses your personality qualities. Consider the 4 classes in which the test may evaluate you for these characteristics. These include the following. Dominance. Individuals with a high dominance score are more likely to thrive in leadership situations and are self-sufficient, confident, and forceful. They feel at ease when confronted with difficulties and conflict. Individuals with a low dominance score are more inclined to cooperate with team members, collaborate, and assist others. Extroversion. Individuals who score high in extroversion are more likely to engage with other people naturally, are influencers, and love public acclaim. People with weaker extroversion drives, or introverts, often prefer to engage with facts or creative projects and value privacy and time alone. Introversion and extroversion may appear in various approaches to job involvement. Extroverted persons are typically collaborative individuals who appreciate working as a member of a group. Extroverts often feel most comfortable working in a team-oriented workplace and may even possess the initiative to act as a group leader. Patience. Individuals with a high level of patience work steadily, avoid fluctuating circumstances, and excel at developing long-term connections in both corporate and social environments. Conversely, persons lacking in patience require variation in the workplace and work at a quicker speed for shorter periods of time. Individuals who are patient may more successfully create objectives, work more efficiently with coworkers, and overcome work challenges. Formality. Individuals with a high formality score value have clear, ordered expectations and are typically detail-oriented and meticulous. Individuals who score lower on the formality scale enjoy spontaneity and informality and require a degree of independence from rigid rules and limitations. Some roles may require employees to take ownership and work more independently, while some other roles require paying attention to details and following rules. Achieving a high or low score in a particular area does not necessarily indicate bad or good performance. Employers want specific characteristics in employees, and it is up to them to determine whether a candidate is a suitable match for their organization. What is a predictive index test? Employers assess potential new employees using 2 primary types of predictive index tests: the Predictive Index Cognitive Assessment (PICA) and the Predictive Index Behavioral Assessment (PIBA). Rather than assessing specific abilities, these examinations assess abstract intellect or personality attributes such as assertiveness, extroversion, patience, and formality. Millions of businesses worldwide use these assessments to determine if an applicant is a suitable match for a role. Predictive Index Cognitive Assessment. The Predictive Index Cognitive Assessment evaluates a candidate's cognitive abilities and abstract intelligence in an objective manner. Because cognitive ability is predictive of future job performance, completing this exam enables both you and your potential employer to determine if you can be a good match for the role. The PICA seeks to reduce unconscious prejudice throughout the recruiting process by assessing your capacity to learn new skills and your ability to adapt swiftly to changing workplace conditions. It assesses verbal reasoning, numerical reasoning, and abstract thinking. The test takers receive 50 questions and are to respond to as many as workable within the allotted time. How to prepare for a predictive index cognitive assessment. Since the PICA assesses your ability to solve a range of issues, you can prepare in advance to improve your score. Remember, it is not just a screening tool for employers, but also a tool for applicants to identify positions that are a good fit. The following steps may assist you in preparing for the PICA. 1. Understand the types of questions. Here are the categories of questions you may see on the PICA: numerical, series, lowest value, number problems, verbal, antonyms, analogies, analysis, abstract, series, analogies, odd one out. 2. Take practice tests. Knowing what to expect in a test is a crucial component of exam preparation. The PICA usually contains 50 questions that you can complete in 12 to 15 minutes, hence, practice based on this time restriction. While it may not be necessary to finish all 50 questions, your objective can be to respond honestly, preview all of the questions beforehand to evaluate which may be simpler for you to solve, start with those, and eventually proceed to the more difficult problems. For example, if you are stronger at verbal abilities than numerical, answer the verbal first. The reliability of predictive index tests. It's critical to understand that numerous businesses worldwide utilize PI tests and have administered them to over 18 million job prospects. These very accurate tests are in accordance with the Canadian Psychological Association's and other test commissions' criteria. Despite this, the test's performance is dependent on the capacity of a human resources department to identify which characteristics are most appropriate for the jobs they are filling. PI tests are merely one component of a broader job prospect screening process. It's critical for job seekers to understand what PI exams are and how to prepare for them. Understanding what to expect can enable you to adequately prepare for them and, with luck, secure work. General test preparation tips. Here are some various methods that may help you perform well on a test. Prepare. It is critical to prepare well. Before taking an exam, to prepare, ensure that you spend an adequate amount of time researching conduct. An internet search for the themes or questions that you may encounter on the test and carefully study that content. Here are some preparation tips. While studying, avoid distractions such as phones or televisions. Take occasional breaks to refocus your attention. Create vivid notes using colors or patterns to assist you in remembering them. Try to study in a calm environment. Attend preparation courses. Certain institutions provide exam preparation classes. Consider enrolling in one of these courses to improve your exam preparation. You may learn about exam material during the course, or you may get the opportunity to take a practice test. Investigate internet sites to determine whether any institutions in your area offer test preparation classes. Consider taking a practice test. An effective test-taking approach is to take practice examinations prior to the actual test. Practice examinations provide insight into the types of questions that may appear on the actual test and can assist you in determining your areas of strength and weakness. If you are having difficulty with a particular topic or subject, make a mental note of it so that you may review it more thoroughly before the exam. Rest adequately the night before the exam. It's essential to let your body have adequate rest the night before the exam. At the very least, attempt to obtain 8 hours of sleep to minimize distractions during the exam. Eat a nutritious meal and try to use the restroom prior to the exam. Arrive on time. It's beneficial to arrive early for your exam to help you to relax before the examination begins. Try to arrive 20 to 25 minutes before your test is scheduled to begin. Bring study materials that you may use as you wait for the test to begin.
Agora você tem o exercício. Lembre-se de entrar em contato. Na descrição você tem o nosso contato.
Now that you have some examples and tips here, you are better prepared. Join us and write your story in the comments section below. Ask whatever you want in the comments and we will do our best to answer you. I will have you in our next video. Bye for now.